Today's the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. President Obama stood in the spot where Dr. King delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. And Obama was sort of reassessing where America is now in terms of race relations 50 years later. As we look around our lives, we can see a lot of progress that's been made toward equality. But when we witness this tendency to judge so many news stories and events along racial lines, we're reminded that we still have a long way to go. Racial segregation in 2013 is not as physically blatant as it was when blacks were separated with schools, bathrooms, and water fountains, banned from lunch counters, relegated to the back of public buses. You know, that was not that long ago. And while it's not going on today, there are still generations of blacks that are still touched through their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and what has been passed down in terms of the way America is, things that have been passed on from generation to generation. Again, it was not that long ago. Things have changed, and things are more subtle today, but there are still forms of judgment and discrimination. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous speech should be remembered and celebrated as a message about the promise that in America, everyone is treated equally. And that hasn't always been the case and still isn't today. On this day in 1963, 50 years ago, the speech focused on injustices against blacks. And the injustices contradicted the intent of our founding fathers, who were white. Today, the message of that speech can be applied to the injustices that still exist and new injustices that challenge what it means to be an American. I hope we all have a dream. I have a dream that in this increasingly divided America, we can all come to realize that we are human beings first. We are humans before we're Americans. We're Americans before we're liberals or conservatives. And many Americans seem to identify themselves first as liberal, first as conservative, and secondly as American. And nowhere is this more obvious than in Washington, D.C. I have a dream that all Americans will understand that freedom of speech means that somebody can say something that you disagree with, and that shouldn't lead to hate. I have a dream that all Americans will return to respecting and teaching the importance of personal accountability. We've become a nation that continues to diminish and actually dismiss this respect that individuals are responsible for their behavior. And there's so many things in our society that prove this point. Parents aren't responsible when their kids do something wrong. It's something else. Maybe it's a video game, or maybe it's a movie, or it's that rap music. No, it's you and your kid. And there are some kids who, no matter how good the parents are, there are some kids who just have the genetic makeup to be bad. But there are too many kids that simply are not parented. I have a dream that all Americans will come to understand that life isn't fair. And you're not entitled to a job. You're not entitled to happiness. You're not entitled to a certain wage or anything tangible. You're entitled to life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness, not happiness. I have a dream that all Americans will understand that their resistance to change is quite often motivated by fear. Change is the basis of everything. And to just instinctively protest change that really doesn't affect your life. And I think same-sex marriage is a classic example of that. There are people who are so afraid of this change. And they're predicting the downfall of society because of this potential change, when in reality, it really doesn't affect their personal lives. And one of my biggest dreams for America is that parents will once again learn to be parents. You can't always be your kid's best friend, but you always have to be your kid's parent. And for all of us to live in a civilized society, every parent must teach their children right from wrong, and that there are always consequences for negative behavior. I have a dream that parents who bring children into this world will understand that their child can't be good at everything. And it's unrealistic to think that they're going to be good at everything. Some kids are better than other things, and I know as a parent it hurts. But it's through our failures and our losses that are part of the human experience that we learn to strive to do better. Or if it's something that we'll never be best at, then we find something we can be best at. I have a dream that all Americans will stop blaming the federal government for everything that's wrong in their lives, when most of the problems are self-inflicted, or they're the result of actions and events beyond the control of the government. And I have a dream that all Americans will understand that the government cannot take away your faith or your religious beliefs. And we should be afraid of those who want the government to make moral decisions about the private lives of individuals. We should be afraid of people who want the government to espouse Christianity. And I'm a Christian. But remember that any alleged war on Christianity is not going to cause any problems in your life. The government, the media, entertainment, the MTV Video Awards, Miley Cyrus, nobody can take away your faith and your moral values. If you lose that, you lost it. It wasn't taken from you. You lost it. We're so concerned about the government taking away our faith, taking away our religion. I don't know about you, but the government can't do anything about that in my personal life, and the government can't do anything about that in your personal life. You know, as a society, we are often divided into groups by the media, and we allow that to happen. We also look to our leaders to change things. We want the president to change America. We want Congress to change America. We want our leaders to change America. What we do in our everyday lives, how we react to each other, how we treat each other, the dreams and morality that we pass on to our children, that's what changes America. We shouldn't look at the president or elected officials or the media to change America. We need to look at ourselves because we, within ourselves, have the ability as individuals to change America. As a nation, we're nothing more than a collection of individuals, and we can't be good as a nation if we're not good as individuals. The power lies in us. It lies in what you do tomorrow, what you do tonight, what you do in terms of how you react to things. And think for yourself. Don't fall into this tendency to be part of a herd. Challenge what you're told. Challenge what you believe. The brainwashing that takes place in this country may not be the brainwashing that has taken place in other countries and by certain religious sects, but there is brainwashing. And the brainwashing is done because people in the media benefit from the American divide. But the one thing that we need to remember is, as individuals, we have the power to change America. It's what we do in our everyday lives. I hope you have a dream. The Scoot blog tonight is titled, I Have a Dream. It's on our website at WWL.com. And you can give us your comments or share it with others. On this, the 50th anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I thought it was important for us to talk about the dreams that we still have for America. Anybody here seen my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seemed good that This is The Scoot Show, and we'll be right back on WWL.